It began on a warm summer's evening in Verona. The lanterns had just been lit. The sky hung low and pink, and the streets whispered with the soft hush of footsteps and old stone. A ball was about to begin, not grand, not loud, but glowing with candlelight and filled with music like velvet. And among the swirl of masked faces, two eyes met. Unexpectedly. They did not know each other's names. They did not know the weight of the world they stood in. But something passed between them, a kind of breathlessness, a gentle stillness in the heart. This is not the story of feuds. Not tonight. This is the story of a glance, of a quiet garden, of whispered words beneath a balcony kissed by moonlight. Welcome to Sleepy Journeys, the podcast designed to lull you into a peaceful slumber with soothing stories through time, places, and ideas. Whether you're winding down after a long day or simply looking for a peaceful escape, you're in the right place. My name's Jack, and I'm so happy to have you here with me. Each night on Sleepy Journeys, we set off together on gentle adventures designed to soothe your mind and ease you into rest. You'll find journeys through history, comforting fairy tales, myths and folklore, the wonders of science, fascinating inventions, inspiring famous figures, music history, and even calm explorations around the world. No matter where your curiosity takes you, there's a dreamy, sleepy journey show for you. And tonight we're stepping delicately into the timeless world of Romeo and Juliet. We'll wander the streets of Verona together. We'll trace ivy-covered walls, drift past flickering candles, and listen as love unfolds, not with fireworks, but with a sigh. And just before we fully drift off, if you're enjoying Sleepy Journeys, go ahead and tap follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're joining me on. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming sleepy adventures. And let us know in the comments where in the world you're listening from and what time it is there. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us. Now, take a deep breath, and let's begin. Picture the ancient city of Verona, resting quietly beneath a dusky sky. The last rays of the sun slip softly behind rolling hills, casting a golden pink glow that gently fades into twilight. Stone walls, worn smooth by centuries of touch, cradle narrow streets where shadows stretch and mingle, and overhanging balconies lean into the night. The air is cool, touched with the faint perfume of jasmine and old roses, while a soft breeze rustles through the ivy that clings to the edges of aged stone. As lanterns flicker to life in windows and along quiet alleyways, Verona exhales, its bustling energy giving way to a serene hush. Distant sounds drift on the evening air, the low murmur of voices from open windows, the faint splash of a fountain tucked into a hidden square, the soft clatter of dishes being cleared as families settle in for the night. It is a city wrapped in quiet, poised at the edge of sleep. This is the Verona of Shakespeare's imagination, a place not just of stone and streets, but of whispers, glances, and the delicate ache of love. Romeo and Juliet, two young souls born of ancient families, walk these streets. Yet, for tonight's journey, We are not concerned with the sharp edges of family feuds or the heavy pull of tragedy. Instead, we are here to gently float above the surface, to trace the moments of wonder, longing, and tenderness that make their story timeless. Let your mind drift, following the curve of an ivy-covered wall, your fingers brushing the cool surface of the stone. Imagine wandering down a narrow lane where moonlight pools between buildings, your steps slow and unhurried. Somewhere nearby, laughter floats up into the night air, and the faint melody of a lute drifts from an open window. The world feels soft, suspended between waking and dreaming. In a garden just beyond one of these walls, Juliet stands on her balcony, her face turned toward the stars. She is young, luminous, her heart stirred by the newness of love. Below, in the shadows, Romeo lingers, his heart full of words and wonder, caught between hesitation and longing. The night seems to hold its breath around them, wrapping their quiet world in a silvery hush. Tonight, we will explore their world slowly, gently, moving not through the harsh turns of fate, but through the tender spaces of their story. We will glide through candlelit halls, step softly through moonlit gardens, and pause in the still moments where love blooms like a delicate flower. We will trace the shapes of their whispered promises, the hush of their secret meetings, and the lingering echo of their devotion, carried through centuries on the quiet breath of memory. So, settle in. Feel your body relax, your breath slow. Let the soft imagery of Verona wrap around you like a warm, gentle blanket. There is no need to hold on tightly to the details or the plot. Instead, let yourself drift, carried by the rhythm of the words, the quiet pulse of the story. Tonight, we are not here to untangle tragedy or chase after sorrow. We are here to float gently on the current of a love story, one that has shimmered softly through time, touching hearts, inspiring poets, and inviting dreamers to linger a little longer beneath the stars. All you need to do is listen, breathe, and let the journey unfold. The night is waiting, the stars are shining, and the soft echoes of Romeo and Juliet's love call out to us, inviting us to step softly into their world. Verona unfolds like a delicate painting, its streets and squares gently blending past and present, light and shadow, memory and moment. As we drift deeper into this ancient city, let us move slowly, savoring each detail, each soft curve of stone and sigh of wind, each trace of centuries laid gently upon one another. The cobblestones beneath your feet feel cool and time-worn, their edges smoothed by countless footsteps, lovers, merchants, children, poets. Narrow alleys stretch ahead, flanked by old stone buildings whose walls carry the hush of whispered stories. Ivy clings to archways, spilling down in green cascades that sway lightly in the evening breeze. High above, balconies lean forward, draped with flowering vines, their wooden shutters drawn half-closed against the fading light. In the heart of the city, the Piazza delle Erbe welcomes us with its open arms. Once a bustling Roman forum, now a quiet gathering place, its stone fountains trickle softly, the water catching the last gold of the sun. The gentle murmur of voices drifts across the square, blending with the clink of glasses and the faint laughter from cafes tucked beneath striped awnings. Vendors begin to pack away their wares, fruits glowing like jewels, spices perfuming the air, delicate fabrics folded carefully by practiced hands. Walking slowly through this space, you can feel the softness of evening settle over everything. Shadows lengthen, lanterns blink to life, and the square's ancient statues stand bathed in the hush of twilight. A warm breeze touches your face, carrying with it the scent of baking bread, the faintest trace of lavender, the cool breath of the nearby river. As you wander deeper, you come to the Torre dei Lamberti, its tall bell tower stretching into the sky, keeping silent watch over Verona. The bells are still now, their music saved for the turning of hours, yet their silent presence adds to the peacefulness of the city. Standing beneath the tower, you look up at its worn stones, its narrow windows glowing softly in the deepening dusk. Turning away, you follow a quiet path toward the river. The Adige River curves gently along the edge of Verona, its waters dark and smooth, reflecting the soft pinks and purples of the sky. Along the banks, willows dip their slender branches into the current, and stone bridges arch gracefully over the flowing water. The breeze here is cooler, touched with the scent of river reeds and cool stone, and the sound of the water is a constant, gentle murmur, like the city itself is softly breathing, whispering to the night. Here and there, couples stroll hand in hand, their steps slow, their voices hushed. Lanterns bob gently on small boats tied along the river's edge, their lights dancing on the rippling surface. From across the water, the soft glow of Verona's buildings seems to float, their reflections trembling slightly, as though caught between the world above and the one below. As you walk farther, you pass through a quiet courtyard where ancient olive trees twist and lean gracefully, their silver leaves whispering in the breeze. The ground beneath your feet is soft with moss, the air filled with the scent of earth and old stone. Somewhere nearby, a cat stretches lazily across a sun-warmed step, its eyes half closed, its purring adding a faint hum to the peaceful atmosphere. You pause near a small chapel, its wooden door weathered and carved with delicate patterns. A candle burns softly within, its light flickering through stained glass, casting soft colors onto the cobbled ground outside. You breathe deeply, feeling the coolness of the evening settle over your shoulders, a quiet calm folding itself around you like a comforting shawl. Within this city's delicate weave stand two great houses, the Capulets and the Montagues. Tonight, we do not approach them as enemies locked in bitter conflict, but as part of Verona's living fabric, its gentle, complex heartbeat. The Capulet house rises proudly near the heart of the city, its walls wrapped in climbing roses, its gardens filled with the soft rustle of leaves and the murmur of fountains. Behind tall gates, the household hums quietly, servants moving through shadowed halls, lamps glowing in upper windows, the occasional quiet laughter of young voices drifting out into the night. The Capulets are a family of tradition and presence, their name woven tightly into the city's identity, their home a place of gatherings, of celebrations, of careful grace. Not far away, the Montague home stands with equal dignity, its walls weathered by time, its grounds touched by the same hush of old gardens and whispering trees. The Montagues, too, carry centuries of history in their name, their household marked by the same rhythms, laughter, sorrow, hopes carried carefully through the years. Though the two families are set against one another by old grievances, tonight we set aside the noise of conflict. Instead, we let ourselves simply feel their presence, their shared place in Verona's quiet beauty. Their houses, their gardens, their ancient halls, they stand like quiet pillars, shaping the landscape through which Romeo and Juliet will move. As you walk slowly through these neighborhoods, you can almost hear the sounds folded into the night air, the distant pluck of a lute, the soft laughter of a child slipping past a window, the gentle creak of an old wooden door. These are the sounds that shape the world of our two young lovers, a world both tender and fragile, held in the soft hands of time. Pausing near a low garden wall, you might glimpse a faint flicker of lamplight inside, casting golden shapes across the leaves. You might hear the murmur of conversation, gentle and unhurried, or the soft rustle of someone moving through a quiet corridor. These small details, these delicate impressions, are the threads that weave Verona into the world where Romeo and Juliet's love will unfold. And so, as we linger here, among the old stones and quiet streets, we prepare to follow Romeo and Juliet on their gentle journey. Their paths are shaped not only by love, but by the city itself, by its gardens and balconies, its shadows and moonlight, its slow breathing hush. Together, we will trace those paths, not in haste, but in softness, allowing the story to unfold gently, like the slow blooming of a rose at dawn. Night deepens gently over Verona, wrapping the city in a soft hush. Above the rooftops, stars emerge one by one, their delicate light shimmering faintly in the velvet dark. The Capulet house glows like a beacon, lanterns flickering in every window, casting golden halos that spill across the courtyard and onto the street beyond. Inside, the great hall is alive with celebration, music, laughter, and the rustle of fine fabrics swirling across polished floors. Stepping softly into this glowing space, you feel the shift in atmosphere. The marble underfoot is cool and smooth, the air scented with the mingled perfume of roses, sweetmeats, and spiced wine. Guests glide through the hall, their masked faces turned toward one another in quiet conversation, their movements graceful, the occasional sound of laughter bubbling gently up and fading again, like a soft tide. Musicians sit tucked in a corner, coaxing delicate melodies from their lutes and harps. The music floats through the room, winding between the dancers, wrapping the hall in a shimmering net of sound. Candlelight flickers against mirrored walls, scattering points of brightness that seem to drift like tiny stars, caught momentarily in the air before softly vanishing again. At the center of this glowing, shifting world stands Juliet. Young, graceful, and radiant, she moves with the gentle poise of someone caught between the innocence of youth and the wonder of first discovery. Her gown glimmers in the candlelight, pale and delicate, whispering softly along the floor as she moves. Though her face is partly hidden behind a delicate mask, her eyes shine brightly, reflecting the warm glow around her, drawing attention even among the many gathered in the hall. Imagine yourself moving quietly through this luminous gathering. Each step feels slow, measured, as though time itself has softened its edges here. You notice the rustle of skirts, the light touch of silk brushing past, the faint scent of lavender and jasmine lingering in the air. Guests pause in small clusters, speaking in hushed tones, their laughter like the chiming of tiny bells. The music wraps everything in a kind of enchantment. The gentle plucking of strings, the low hum of a viola, the occasional sweep of a bow, all these sounds weave together into a fabric of gentle sound, soft enough to touch. The dancers move gracefully, their masked faces turning this way and that, their hands clasping lightly, the folds of their garments swirling in slow, elegant patterns. At one edge of the room stands Romeo. His dark hair is brushed neatly back, his mask simple but finely made, its delicate lines shadowing his thoughtful face. He watches the crowd with a quiet, curious wonder, his heart lifted by the beauty of the evening, the shimmer of light, the sound of music. Though his family's name should have barred him from this place, tonight he is here, carried by longing and the pull of something he does not yet fully understand. His gaze moves slowly across the room, past dancers and musicians, past masked faces and laughing mouths, until it finds her, Juliet. Across the crowd, their eyes meet, and something unspoken flutters softly in the air between them. For a heartbeat, the sounds around them seem to fade, the motion of the room slows, and only they remain, standing on opposite sides of a quiet, shining moment. Romeo takes a step forward, his breath catching lightly, his heart lifting with a tremulous beat. Each movement feels slow, dreamlike, as though the space between them is both impossibly vast and heartbreakingly close. Juliet turns slightly, her eyes widening as she takes in the figure approaching her, her smile blooming gently, uncertainly, like the first light of dawn. They meet at the edge of the dance, their words soft, hesitant, filled with the wonder of two souls discovering one another for the first time. Their voices are low, shaped by the hush of the music and the shimmering light, by the soft press of the crowd around them. A few tentative phrases are exchanged, polite, curious, touched with quiet awe, and yet beneath the surface, something deeper stirs, something timeless and unspoken. Their hands brush lightly, the faintest contact of skin on skin, and in that touch, the world seems to shift. It is a moment delicate beyond words, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, watching with gentle wonder as two hearts begin to draw softly together. They smile, they laugh softly, their eyes meeting and parting again, caught in the delicate dance of discovery. The evening flows around them, music, laughter, conversation, but for Romeo and Juliet, these sounds are distant, softened by the glow of the moment they now share. They stand at the edge of something vast and unknown, their hearts trembling softly, their souls just beginning to feel the weight and sweetness of what is unfolding between them. As the night deepens, Juliet is called away, her family drawing her back into the fold of the gathering. Romeo watches her go, his heart lingering in the space where she stood, his thoughts filled with the softness of her smile, the gentle warmth of her touch. She, too, glances back, her eyes bright, her heart already holding the echo of their brief, luminous encounter. Outside the Capulet house, the night stretches calm and still, the stars overhead shining quietly, the air touched with the faint scent of night-blooming flowers. The laughter and music of the ball drifts softly into the darkness, mingling with the hush of the city beyond. Somewhere in that vast, sleeping world, two young hearts lie awake, their minds spinning gently, their dreams touched with the fragile sweetness of first love. In this moment, there are no family names, no ancient grudges, no heavy future pressing down upon them. There is only the hush of the night, the memory of a glance, a smile, a soft word exchanged in the glow of candlelight. It is a moment that will echo across centuries, captured not in the shouts of conflict or the clash of swords, but in the delicate, unshakable stillness of two souls finding each other for the very first time. The night deepens further over Verona, casting the city in a hushed, silver glow. The moon hangs quietly above, its pale light spilling across the rooftops and slipping softly down the ivy-covered walls. The streets, once filled with laughter and music, now lie still, wrapped in the quiet embrace of midnight. In the garden behind the Capulet house, shadows stretch long and cool, and the air is scented with roses, jasmine, and the faint trace of damp earth. Romeo moves quietly through the garden, his heart still pounding from the magic of the evening. His footsteps are slow, cautious, yet filled with a kind of breathless determination. Somewhere above, behind a high stone wall, Juliet lingers on her balcony, her thoughts dancing lightly across the night air. Neither of them knows exactly where this moment will lead, but each is pulled gently forward by the quiet, irresistible thread of connection that now binds them. Picture yourself standing quietly among the fragrant blooms, feeling the cool night air brush softly against your skin. The garden is bathed in pale moonlight, its shadows deep and soft, its corners wrapped in a hush that feels almost sacred. Leaves stir gently in the breeze, and somewhere nearby, the faint trickle of water adds a delicate music to the stillness. Above, Juliet leans lightly against the stone rail of her balcony, her face tilted toward the stars. Her thoughts tumble softly from her lips, unguarded, as she speaks into the night, believing herself alone. She wonders about this boy who has so quickly captured her heart, about the sweetness of their meeting, and about the bitter twist of family names that sets them apart. Her words drift down like petals, their softness caught in the night air, each syllable a gentle sigh of wonder and longing. Unseen below, Romeo listens, his breath held tightly, his heart caught between joy and ache. He watches her, bathed in moonlight, her hair falling like a dark river over her shoulders, her face glowing with the soft light of new love. For a moment, he remains still, afraid to break the delicate spell of her words. But soon, the pull becomes too strong, and he steps forward, letting her see him, letting her know he is near. Their eyes meet in the hush of the garden, and time seems to slow, to soften. They speak in low, trembling voices, sharing thoughts and feelings that feel both fragile and infinite. Juliet, at first startled, quickly softens, her heart opening wider with each word they exchange. Romeo, filled with wonder, lets his words spill freely, speaking his heart with a sincerity that carries the weight of true, first love. The moon above seems to hold its breath. The garden leans closer, and the night wraps around them like a soft cloak. Here, on this quiet balcony, two souls draw gently together, their hearts touching across the narrow space that separates them, their promises beginning to weave the delicate fabric of their love. Their words flow like a soft river, winding through the quiet night. They speak of devotion, of the wonder of having found one another, of the hopes and dreams that now fill their hearts. Their voices tremble slightly, not from fear, but from the sheer intensity of the feelings they now hold. They promise to remain true, to find a way to be together despite the ancient feuds that surround them. Juliet, standing high above, feels her heart lift and swell, touched by Romeo's gentle earnestness. She speaks in soft tones, her words like the flutter of a bird's wings, delicate and yet filled with a quiet, unwavering strength. Romeo, gazing up, feels as though the stars themselves have leaned down to listen, their shimmering light blessing the promises that pass between them. There is no need here for grand gestures or dramatic declarations. Instead, the sweetness of the moment lies in its simplicity, in the way they lean toward each other across the hush of the night, in the way their words wrap softly around one another, in the quiet certainty that they have found something rare and precious. As they speak, the night seems to fold itself gently around them, holding them in a space where only they exist. The garden fades to shadow, the world beyond the walls falls away, and there is only the soft glow of the moon, the trembling light of the stars, and the two young souls weaving their delicate promises beneath the sky. As the hour grows late, they part reluctantly, their hands reaching softly across the gap, their eyes lingering, their hearts already aching for the absence they know will come. Juliet slips quietly back into her room, her heart racing, her cheeks flushed, her mind filled with the sweetness of the night. Romeo lingers a moment longer in the garden, breathing in the cool air, feeling the weight of his love settle gently into his chest, before turning and slipping away into the shadows. The night holds their secret close, wrapping it carefully in the hush of moonlight and the whisper of leaves. The stars above shimmer softly, as if smiling down upon the tender promises exchanged, the delicate threads of love now binding two hearts together. And as the garden falls back into stillness, the soft echo of their words lingers, carried gently on the night breeze, a quiet song of devotion and longing. You stand quietly in the garden for a moment longer, feeling the hush settle around you, feeling the sweetness of the night soak gently into your own heart. There is something timeless here, something soft and eternal, something that speaks not of tragedy or sorrow, but of the quiet, powerful beauty of love newly discovered. And as you turn to leave, you carry that sweetness with you, a soft memory pressed carefully into the corners of your thoughts, to be held gently and treasured long after the night has passed. The sun rises softly over Verona, painting the rooftops with strokes of pale gold and rose. The quiet streets begin to stir, the hush of night giving way to the gentle hum of morning life. Merchants set out their wares beneath striped awnings. Children's laughter drifts faintly between the alleys, and the scent of baking bread seeps into the air, warm and comforting. Yet, beneath this peaceful morning rhythm lies a delicate tension, one woven deeply into the city's heart. For here in Verona, two great families, the Capulets and the Montagues, stand divided by old grievances and stubborn pride. Their rivalry runs through the streets like an undercurrent, touching every household, every conversation, every glance exchanged between neighbors. And within this divided world, Romeo and Juliet find themselves caught, their love blooming quietly amid the sharp thorns of family conflict. As we wander softly through Verona, we begin to notice the traces of this old division. A merchant hesitates before serving a customer from the rival house. A passing glance turns cool, a voice lowers slightly when mentioning a name. These small gestures ripple outward, shaping the atmosphere of the city, giving it a quiet, almost invisible tension. For Romeo and Juliet, this ancient feud is the backdrop against which their love unfolds. Their hearts reach for one another, not in defiance, but in a kind of quiet wonder, as if they cannot help but be drawn together, despite the walls that rise between their families. Romeo, a Montague, carries the weight of his family's name like a soft shadow, one he does not wish to cast across Juliet's light. Juliet, a Capulet, feels the careful boundaries her household maintains, the expectations placed softly but firmly upon her young shoulders. And yet, their love rises gently between them, a delicate thread reaching across the chasm. It is not loud or rebellious, but tender, hopeful, shaped by the very barriers that seek to hold it back. Each glance, each word they exchange carries the quiet ache of knowing they move within a world that does not welcome their closeness, yet they reach toward each other all the same, guided by the soft pull of the heart. As you drift through the streets, you might feel the hush that settles when their names are spoken together. You might sense the faint ripple of surprise or disapproval that lingers just beneath polite conversation. And yet, alongside this, there is something else, a gentle admiration, a whispered awe for the way love can rise, even amid division, even when wrapped in silence and shadow. Romeo and Juliet's love is tender, yes, but it is also resilient. It does not shrink before obstacles, nor does it rage loudly against them. Instead, it moves softly, persistently, weaving its way through secret meetings, quiet exchanges, hushed promises made beneath the moonlight. Their love learns to navigate the narrow pathways left open to it, to slip through the small spaces where family names and ancient anger cannot reach. They dream not of tearing down the walls that separate them, but of finding a way to exist quietly within the spaces in between. Their hearts hold not grand plans or schemes, but simple, heartfelt hopes to see one another again, to exchange a word or a glance, to know that somewhere in the world the other waits with equal longing. As we follow their journey, we feel the strength in their quiet determination. We sense the courage it takes to reach out softly, to love gently, to hope patiently when surrounded by uncertainty. Their love is not reckless, but thoughtful, shaped by the soft resilience of those who know the value of each stolen moment, each whispered word. Imagine standing quietly outside Juliet's garden, hearing the faint rustle of movement within, knowing that behind those walls, two hearts are weaving dreams together, despite the weight of the world pressing softly against them. Imagine the hush that falls over the city when they meet, as if even Verona itself leans in gently to listen, to witness, to hold space for the tender hope that rises between them. Their resilience lies not in grand declarations or bold defiance, but in the delicate strength of love that endures quietly, even when shadowed by division. It is a love that finds its own quiet path, a love that whispers rather than shouts, a love that lingers softly, even in the face of ancient grievances. As we move through this part of their story, we carry with us the delicate weight of their hopes, the quiet bravery of their hearts, and the tender beauty of love that blooms gently, even when the world seems set against it. And as we continue on, we hold these soft threads carefully, knowing that they will shape the moments yet to come, the choices they will make, and the echoes their love will leave behind. In this divided world, Romeo and Juliet do not seek to conquer or overcome, but to cherish, to hold close the fragile wonder they have found in each other, to let it shine softly, even if only for a little while, even if only beneath the cover of night. And as we follow their path, we are reminded of the quiet power of love, the way it slips gently past barriers, the way it softens even the hardest edges, the way it lingers, softly and eternally, in the heart. As the days pass in Verona, the delicate web of Romeo and Juliet's love begins to tighten, pulling softly but firmly under the weight of the world around them. Their secret glances, the whispered meetings under the moon, the gentle promises exchanged beneath shadowed balconies, all these moments so fragile and bright, now seem touched by the slow, creeping shadow of fate. The city around them, once so alive with light and softness, seems to hold its breath. The streets are quieter, the voices lower, the eyes that once smiled now glance sideways with unease. The ancient feud between the Capulets and the Montagues, which had long simmered quietly under the surface, now begins to stir more forcefully, pulling at the threads of peace and threatening to unravel the delicate space in which Romeo and Juliet's love was allowed to bloom. Imagine walking softly through Verona's narrow alleys, feeling the change in the air. Where once the stone walls whispered stories of romance and possibility, now they seem to carry a faint echo of tension, a low hum of unease. The merchants' voices, once bright and welcoming, are now hushed and watchful. Families pass each other on the streets with tightened mouths and averted eyes, and laughter seems less frequent, its sound muffled by the weight of something unspoken. For Romeo and Juliet, their love has become a hidden treasure, a quiet rebellion, not of anger, but of hope. They cling to each other with the sweetness of young hearts, not yet fully understanding the storm quietly gathering around them. Their meetings are more careful now, their words tinged with urgency, their touches lingering just a little longer, as if they sense time slipping gently through their fingers. And then come the small accidents, the missed messenger, the misinterpreted words, the moments when chance plays its hand and fate moves softly, yet unerringly forward. A message that should have reached Romeo is delayed. A word that should have soothed becomes a spark for anger. The feud, once a backdrop to their love, now rises more sharply into view, its edges sharper, its pull stronger. Romeo's heart, divided between his love for Juliet and the bonds of his family, feels the strain. He longs only to hold her again, to lose himself in the hush of her presence. Yet he is drawn again and again into the turmoil beyond their secret world. Juliet, too, feels the weight pressing in, the expectations of her family, the careful lines she is meant to follow, the growing fear that the love she treasures so deeply might soon slip beyond her reach. As you drift through the streets of Verona, you can almost feel the tension tightening like a soft cord. You sense the hurried steps, the lowered voices, the brief, worried glances exchanged in passing. The city, once a soft cradle for their dreams, now seems to hold its breath, waiting for the moment when the delicate balance will break. When Romeo and Juliet part, it is with a sorrow so quiet, so tender, it feels almost like a breath, a sigh, a single tear slipping softly down the cheek. They hold each other close, their arms wrapped gently around one another, their hands trembling just slightly with the weight of their shared sadness. Their words are few, spoken in low, trembling voices, each syllable carrying the sweetness of love and the ache of knowing what may come. Juliet's eyes glisten with unshed tears, her fingers brushing lightly along Romeo's cheek, memorizing the shape of his face, the warmth of his skin, the softness of his gaze. Romeo presses his forehead gently to hers, his breath uneven, his heart beating a quiet, urgent rhythm that echoes softly through the night. They stand in the hush of the garden, the moon casting silver light across their faces, the night breeze lifting the faint scent of roses and ivy into the air. And then, with a soft, trembling breath, they let go. Their fingers slip apart slowly, reluctantly, as if the universe itself resists their parting. Juliet turns, her steps light and hesitant, as she disappears into the shadowed halls of her family's home. Romeo lingers in the garden, his eyes following the last glimpse of her, his heart heavy with longing and quiet despair. As he finally turns to leave, the garden falls back into silence, the night settling gently over the empty space where two hearts once stood entwined. The stars above shimmer faintly, their light cool and distant, touching the stone walls, the silent fountain, the petals scattered softly on the ground. The world holds its breath, the delicate sorrow of their parting woven carefully into the quiet fabric of the night. And yet, even in their sorrow, there is a kind of quiet beauty. There is the lingering warmth of their embrace, the soft glow of their shared promises, the unshakable imprint of their love pressed gently into the world around them. It is a sorrow not born of anger, but of tenderness, the sorrow of two hearts that have loved deeply, even when the world would not make space for them. As you walk softly through Verona, you can almost hear the faint echo of their whispered goodbyes, the delicate murmur of their promises, the quiet rustle of their hearts as they part. You can feel the weight of their sorrow settle gently over the city, wrapping its streets and walls and gardens in a hush so soft, so delicate, it feels almost like the touch of a dream. This is the tragedy that unfolds, not in the loud clash of swords or the thunder of angry voices, but in the soft, almost imperceptible cracking of two young hearts pressed gently beneath the weight of the world. It is a tragedy woven from small moments, from tender partings, from the quiet ache of love that endures even when it cannot hold. And as we carry this part of their story with us, we hold it carefully, tenderly, knowing that it will shape the path that lies ahead, knowing that it will leave its delicate imprint on the heart, shimmering softly, long after the night has passed. The morning sun rises softly over Verona, gilding the ancient stone with a gentle, golden light. The city, ever timeless, carries the memory of Romeo and Juliet not as a relic of the past, but as a living, breathing presence woven into its very walls, streets, and gardens. As you walk slowly along the quiet pathways, you can feel it, a tender echo, a whisper of longing and love, lingering in the air, wrapped softly around every ivy-covered balcony and weathered archway. Though centuries have passed since Shakespeare penned their story, the tale of Romeo and Juliet continues to ripple outward, touching generation after generation with its delicate, aching beauty. Their love, brief and intense, has taken on a life of its own, moving gently across time, across cultures, across languages, wrapping itself around the human heart like a timeless melody. Everywhere you look, their presence lingers. Tourists pause thoughtfully at Juliet's balcony, their hands brushing against the cool stone, their hearts filled with a quiet reverence for the love that once bloomed here, or perhaps for the love they carry within their own hearts. Letters, left behind in tiny crevices or pinned carefully to the walls, flutter softly in the breeze, words of hope, longing, devotion, whispered confessions from souls across the world who come here to stand in the glow of a story that feels both universal and deeply personal. The story of Romeo and Juliet has found its way into every corner of human expression, its tender threads woven into painting, music, poetry, theater, and film. Artists across the centuries have been drawn to the soft tragedy of their love, the delicate balance between joy and sorrow, the bittersweet ache of a romance that bloomed so brightly and faded so soon. In paintings, we see Juliet leaning over her balcony, the moonlight brushing her face as Romeo gazes upward, his heart lifted by the sight of her. We see their hands reaching softly for each other, fingertips almost touching, eyes filled with longing and wonder. We see the tender grief of their final moments, their love preserved in soft strokes of color and shadow, forever caught in a delicate dance between life and loss. In music, composers have given voice to their passion and sorrow, letting notes rise and fall like breathless sighs, capturing the pulse of their young hearts, the hush of their whispered promises, the aching beauty of their final parting. From delicate chamber pieces to sweeping symphonies, their story has resonated through melody, echoing softly through concert halls and quiet rooms alike. In poetry, their names slip gently across the page, woven into lines of longing, of wonder, of sorrow. Poets have reached for their story again and again, finding in it the language of the heart, a language that speaks of love's delicate strength, of time's soft cruelty, of the way two souls can touch so briefly, yet leave an imprint that endures forever. In theater and film, their story has been retold countless times, reshaped for new audiences, given new settings, new faces, new voices, yet always carrying the same tender ache, the same timeless truth. Whether set in the Verona of old or a modern city's busy streets, whether played by renowned actors or young lovers on a small stage, the core of Romeo and Juliet's story remains unchanged, a story of love's quiet triumph, even in the shadow of sorrow. Why does this story endure so powerfully? Why do we return, again and again, to the soft ache of their love, to the hush of their final parting, to the delicate beauty of their brief, shining connection? Perhaps it is because their story touches something deep within us, something universal, something eternal. Romeo and Juliet remind us of the power of love to rise gently, almost impossibly, amid the hardest of circumstances. They show us that love is not merely a feeling, but a quiet act of courage, of hope, of resilience. In a world that seeks to divide, they reach toward each other, their hands outstretched, their hearts open, their voices trembling yet unafraid. Their love speaks of the tender strength of youth, the way young hearts burn so brightly, so fiercely, so purely. It reminds us of the first time we felt the rush of connection, the thrill of discovery, the quiet vulnerability of opening our hearts to another. It speaks not only of passion, but of gentleness, of shared glances, of whispered words, of promises made beneath the hush of moonlight. And though their story ends in sorrow, it is not the sorrow we carry with us most. Instead, it is the beauty, the sweetness, the soft, trembling wonder of their love that lingers. We remember not only their loss, but their courage, their joy, their unwavering hope in the face of all that stood against them. Their tale, woven softly into the human heart, becomes a reminder that love endures, not only in moments of triumph, but also, perhaps most beautifully, in moments of quiet perseverance. It reminds us that even the briefest connection can leave a mark that lasts forever, that even the most delicate love can echo through time, touching hearts, inspiring dreams, softening the hard edges of the world. As you walk softly through the streets of Verona, you carry this story with you, tucked gently into the folds of your heart. You feel it in the hush of the old stones, in the soft rustle of ivy against the walls, in the faint scent of roses lingering in the evening air. You sense it in the quiet footsteps that pass by, in the lovers' hands clasped tightly, in the shy smiles exchanged beneath the watchful gaze of the moon. Romeo and Juliet are no longer merely characters in a play. They have become part of the human story, part of the gentle tapestry of love and longing that stretches softly across time. Their names, their voices, their tender promises drift through the centuries, wrapping themselves gently around each new heart that listens, that hopes, that dreams. And as you pause, letting the soft echoes of their love settle gently into your thoughts, you realize that you too are part of this enduring legacy. You too carry within you the quiet strength of love, the delicate wonder of connection, the soft, unshakable truth that even in a world of division, love finds a way to bloom, briefly, beautifully, eternally. The night has returned to Verona, wrapping the city once more in a hush of silver moonlight and delicate shadow. The narrow streets lie quiet beneath the stars, the old stones warmed by the day's sun now cooling gently in the soft breath of evening. Ivy-covered walls lean gracefully over silent gardens, their blossoms folding into sleep, their scents drifting softly on the night air. As we step slowly back through the delicate threads of Romeo and Juliet's story, we do so not with sorrow, but with tenderness. Their tale, so full of longing and beauty, lingers gently in our hearts, its soft echoes humming quietly as we walk. We remember their glances, the hush of their voices, the warmth of their hands reaching across the space that separated them. We carry with us the sweet ache of their promises, the delicate shimmer of a love that bloomed even in the shadows of division. The streets of Verona stretch quietly before us, each corner holding a memory, each stone touched by the passing of time. The city does not mourn Romeo and Juliet as a loss, but holds them softly, lovingly, as a part of its very being. Their story lives in the whisper of the wind through the trees, in the faint scent of roses on the evening air, in the hush of footsteps passing beneath old balconies. It is a story that lingers not as a burden, but as a gift, a reminder of love's delicate strength, of its soft endurance, of its quiet, timeless beauty. And now, as you settle deeper into rest, you too carry this gentle story with you. You carry the hush of the garden, the glow of the moon, the soft press of two hands joined in quiet devotion. You carry the sweetness of whispered promises, the delicate ache of parting, the soft, unshakable truth that love, once born, leaves a mark that time cannot erase. Feel the softness of your pillow, the warmth of your blankets, the slow, steady rhythm of your breath. Let the images of Verona drift gently through your mind, the moonlit streets, the blooming gardens, the tender faces of two young lovers, forever suspended in a moment of timeless connection. Let the hush of the night wrap around you like a warm blanket, drawing you deeper into comfort, into stillness, into rest. You do not need to hold on tightly to the details of the story. You can simply let them float softly around you, like petals on the breeze, like stars shimmering faintly in the night sky. Each breath you take carries you further into calm, further into peace, further into the quiet embrace of sleep. The world outside fades gently away, leaving only the soft echo of the story, the gentle pulse of your own heart, the quiet promise of rest. Romeo and Juliet's love, though brief, shines softly across time, touching each new heart that listens, each new soul that dreams. And tonight, as you close your eyes, you are part of that delicate, unbroken thread, a thread woven not of sorrow, but of beauty, of hope, of the timeless, gentle truth of love. So let go now, dear listener. Let the night cradle you softly. Let the hush of the world surround you. Let the sweetness of rest drift gently over you. The stars are shining, the moon is watching, and the soft echo of Romeo and Juliet's love is wrapped gently around you, lulling you toward peace, toward comfort, toward sleep. Thank you for joining me on tonight's journey. I hope it brought you a little peace, a little wonder, and a little closer to rest. Until next time, sweet dreams.